Today we are going to check out Infinity's Sonic B200WL Soundbar, and it offers really great and loud sound with all the features that most people will need for their TVs. It also comes at a price of 8,000 rupees, which also makes it affordable compared to other good quality brands that also include a subwoofer. Hey guys, I am Siddharth and let's get started. Inside the box, you get a power cable for subwoofer, the remote, a 3.5mm auxiliary cable, and some screws to mount the soundbar on a wall. AAA batteries are included for the remote. Then you reach to the soundbar itself, and finally there is the subwoofer. And there is also a manual which I didn't take out. The design of the soundbar is pretty minimal but functional. It has two 20-watt drivers in it, and the subwoofer is 40 watts. I like the simple design, and you also have a digital display at center which will show input sources along with all the adjustments. The 40-watt subwoofer is also just a plain box with a 4.5-inch driver and a base port behind it. This does use ordinary plywood that they didn't cover the edges of, but it is at back of it, so it's not going to be visible, and the finishing on all other sides is nicely done. You can place the soundbar on a desk or mount it on a wall, and subwoofer can be put at any place close to the wall, and you can experiment with different places to check where it sounds the best. It also has a removable cable, so you can attach a longer cable if you don't have a power point near it. You really have a lot of connectivity options with this. So you have RCA inputs at back along with optical in. You also have the option of using a 3.5mm cable with line in. You have Bluetooth, which you can use to place the soundbar anywhere in the room, and can also use it with your phone. You can even use a pen drive to listen to music from, so all those options will really cover everything. You don't have HDMI ARC on this, which is present on some competing soundbars in this range, but I don't think that is an issue, and overall quality is more important than non-critical connectivity options. On the left side of the soundbar, you have buttons to control volume, a power button, and an input switcher. The remote it comes with is built decently well. It uses infrared, and because the soundbar can also connect with Bluetooth, it also allows you to play, pause, and change tracks on the TV. You can also use it to control tracks if you are using a pen drive as an input. Then you can of course use it to control volume and mute the soundbar. You can change the input type from remote and also pair things to soundbar with remote. The EQ button allows you to switch between 3 equalizer settings that we will talk about later. And then there is the bass up and down button, which is extremely important as it allows you to control the subwoofer levels. And lastly, you can of course use it to power the soundbar off. The subwoofer powers on and off with the soundbar. So when you turn it off, the subwoofer will also turn off, and it will also power on and connect wirelessly with the soundbar. Now you are not actually turning it off but setting it on standby. So I checked the temperatures on subwoofer and it was 2 degrees hotter than room temperature. So components inside it are turned on, but I don't think that there should be any problem if you just let it stay plugged in with power on all the time. But since this soundbar is using Bluetooth to connect to subwoofer, if you keep it near a router that is using the 2.4 GHz band, it may cause serious interference issues between soundbar and subwoofer, and then the subwoofer can go out of sync with the soundbar, and then everything sounds really bad as you hear bass half a second after other frequencies. But this issue isn't only limited to this soundbar, and to avoid it, you can either not keep the router and the soundbar so close to each other, and if you don't have the option of doing that like me, you can use the 5 GHz signal on the router instead of 2.4 GHz signal, and then there won't be any interference. The next video is going to be on this awesome RGB router, by the way, so make sure that you are subscribed with bell icon so you don't miss that. Coming to sound quality, I have to say that it is really good on this soundbar. Since the other audio gear I listened to is pretty high-end, what I was worried about was that this soundbar may have muffled sound and that dialogues may not be clear or the treble may not be well extended. But that wasn't the case at all. The sound is surprisingly balanced and well extended in all frequency ranges. The bass is pretty good and it really feels like you are listening to a much larger speaker, but it will of course depend on where your subwoofer is placed, the shape of your room, and what level of bass you have set on it. So I personally set it to -2 because that gives me a more balanced sound with correct levels of bass, and it also makes the bass reasonably tight for general listening experience, so that is nice. The great thing about the Infinity lineup is that they offer you multiple equalizers, so different people can get what they want, and I think other brands should also have this feature. So on this soundbar, you have 3 equalizer settings, and at first I thought that they were just gimmicks, but all 3 are actually practical to use in different situations. So EQ1 is your balanced setting, and you can use it for general listening as it gives you really good and balanced sound for music. Then the EQ2 makes the mid-range more accentuated, so if you are watching a movie or TV show with dialogues, then EQ2 is going to make the voices easier to listen to, which is very useful. Then the EQ3 was something that I thought just made the soundbar sound muffled, but what it does is reduce some mid and treble frequencies, so if you keep your soundbar really close to you, because you can do that as it has Bluetooth, then this setting will make it sound more natural, because if you keep it too close, then other EQ settings might make the dialogue sound a little shouty. The stereo separation is also good, so if you have something going on from left to right, you are going to feel that if you are at the center of this soundbar. It also gets very loud, and while the sound can distort if you push the volume to maximum, I never felt that I needed to do that. Now we are going to have a sound and bass test so you can get an idea of what it sounds like. But remember that sound you get is going to depend a lot on the size and shape of your room and your subwoofer placement. So let me know in the comments if it sounded good to you. Overall, I am really happy with this soundbar. I think that it offers all the connectivity features that I need. It has a balanced and detailed sound that is great for everything. The sound can also be adjusted according to what you are listening to and where the soundbar is placed, so I think that is really great. At a price point of 8,000 rupees or less on a discount, I also think that this is a very sweet spot for people looking for a quality soundbar. You could spend more, but unless you have an acoustically treated room, you won't get all the benefits of a higher quality soundbar because of all the reflections, and room treatment can cost more than a high quality soundbar, so this is a very sweet spot for price and performance. So I'll have links to buy this in the video description. Let me know your thoughts about it in the comment section below. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it or a thumbs down if you disliked it. Subscribe with bell. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.